at the moment on the Teams. You have seen your marks on ACES.
Yes, ma'am.
Babusi, do you have your script with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please bring it tomorrow to my office or Wednesday in the morning at 10?
Okay, ma'am, I'll bring it.
Yeah, not tomorrow. Bring it on Wednesday. I think I need to confirm your marks.
Yes, ma'am. Wednesday.
Wednesday around 10, 11.
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Matube, do you have your senior marks on ACES? Let me wait 1 minute, some other student to join, then I'll start the class. I just want to confirm, Tito, Babusi, how much marks did you get?
The percentage or the whole the mark? It's 19, ma'am.
I don't know, every time now the attendance is going down. I don't know where other students are busy, why they are not willing to attend the lessons, because we need to really push to finish the syllabus so that at the end of before we end of the semester, we will able to complete all the topics, right? Okay, so this week we are going to do some class activity question with on overheads with the various method of primary and secondary allocation. Actually, primary allocation is just apportionment of the items, but in secondary, we are going to see what different methods can we use for the secondary allocation. All right. So that is our intention. And for that, we need to do at least 2 to 3 questions on the overhead costing so that you can understand the specific procedure for primary allocation, secondary allocation, and also the calculation of overhead absorption rate. On Saturday, I'm planning to having a class extra lesson from 10 to 12. I believe so everybody will able to join the class. All of you. Will you able to join the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will book the venue. More probably our block 240, no, block 252 LT4 will be okay. Otherwise, cheat off so that all students can accommodate well. We also have the tutorial session, which is started by last week. this week we also have the question has been given to the tutor. The timetable is already there on the Teams and Moodle. Please guys attend the tutorial to have the more understanding on the primary allocation and secondary allocation.
Ma'am, is there anything that you are displaying right now? Because I can see
Not
anything.
yet. Yeah, I'm just waiting for some student to join so that I can share the question which is we are going to discuss in the class today as a class activity. All right. Let me share the question. So please do attend the tutorial classes. Okay, so here is the question. You can see how the information will be given in the overhead accounting. Can you see the question? Everybody, can you see the question?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the question, in the question, you will be given overhead. Always remember overhead means indirect cost. Indirect costs, which can be as indirect material, indirect labor, or any indirect expenses. All together, they are known as overhead cost, right? Uh, Normally, overhead, the all the cost which is not easily traceable to the product unit or to the center. So sometimes the business would like to know that, okay, how much expense has been incurred as indirect expenses to the, because it's, we can, if you're not apportioning, you can still able to get the total cost of the business. But when you are portioning, you can also compare that which product or which department consuming more cost and which product consuming less cost. Because total cost is fine, but why maybe a department have a overcosting consuming lot of money but the other not. So when they have the overcost, they need to find out the way to control the cost for that particular department. That's why it is also important to compare the cost and determine the departmental cost so that they can make decision which one is better, which one is not, or which one has too much, or which one has a reasonable amount of cost contributing into the cost calculation. So suppose there is a business, a furniture making business, which has three production department, A, B, C. We just given the code number. It may be like a cutting department, assembling department, and finishing department, and two service department like department X and Y. These two department could be like a store department where they keep all the raw material, and also Y means the maintenance, because they also need the maintenance department to ensure that all the material has been secured there, so that whenever the need is arise, they can get from the store, and maintenance people can come and assist to make the things valuable, right? So that's why the store department and maintenance can be coded like service department X and Y. So we need to, the main job of accounting for overhead is to find out all the cost which is given either related to the department or not related to the department, to the all. So for that we go through, if you remember, for accounting for overheads, there are 3 steps. Number 1 is known as specific allocation, where the cost is already given to the concerned department or to the related department. That is called specific allocation. Then second one is primary allocation, and the third one is secondary allocation. Primary allocation means where we do the apportionment of cost to the various project. And the secondary, when we transferring the service department cost to the production department, because when you apportion the cost to the various, they are like it will share, like we have production department and service. So when you are apportioning, it will go to both production and service. But service department, they are not really taking part in the production. They always support in the production, but directly they don't take part in the production. So the service department cost has to be reapportioned only to the productions department. That's how we allocate the cost. So when you have given the question, some cost, like there are 3 production department, 2 service, and the budgeted overhead cost for the coming year is this much, and you will be given the other information, the departmental related information like area which is occupied by each department, machine value, the machine value, and the telephone charges, because when you have telephone charges, it can be apportioned based on the telephone points, and the direct labor hours budgeted, maybe it can apportion the supervisor salary, and some of the information are given as a specific allocation. A specific allocation means where the cost is already known departmental wise, means it has been recorded, so it can be known that, like store department, when the store department issuing the material, indirect material, and also recording the indirect labor cost. Indirect labor cost means like the cost of payment for ideal time, payment for overtime. So they know that, okay, how many employees receive overtime in that particular department, how many people receive what is called idle time or bonus in that department. So we can easily identify related to the concerned department. So we already know how much. So when we already know the cost related to the each department, it can directly go to the concerned department or allocated to the concerned department. So that process is known as specific allocation. And some of the cost, when it is not given departmental wise, like here, the rent and rates is given for the all department together. So we don't know how much for A, how much for B. So that one, then we have to do the process of apportionment. And process of apportionment is called primary allocation. And we show all those costs in the overhead analysis sheet, right? So now we are going to see and start how to prepare the overhead analysis sheet. As you have seen, there are certain costs which is given together for all the department. And here in the question, you are also given some details of service department X and service department Y in a form of percentage. So what does it mean? Like service department X and share 50% cost with department A, 30% cost with Department B, and 20% cost with Department C, and the 5% cost with Department Y. Right? Like here. So how this percentage calculated or arised? When we say, okay, according to the total time or the cost material they use to work for the production department, the 50% their expenditures it's come from the department A, or sometimes it is based on the time, how much time they devote. Like of their total working hours, 50% they did for Department A, 30% for the B, 20% for the C, and 5% for Y. And from the service department Y, because this is another service department, 20% goes to A, 30% for B, 40% for C, because the type of their services are like that, and the 10% for Department X. So when they do like this, it helps to apportion the service department cost uh, among the only production department, right? So that one, this percentage we use for the third step, which is called reapportionment or secondary allocation. But before we go for the secondary allocation, let's first see what is the specific allocation and the primary allocation, right? So for that, you must have to draw the overhead analysis sheet in this form. Uh, Then here the number of columns are depend on the number of department. So here you have, then first column will be for the cost item. Number 2 column for the basis of apportionment, like on what basis are you apportioning the cost. And the third column for the total. Fourth column for the production department comes first. Production department A, production department B and C, and service department X and Y. Okay, so that's how we drew. And the first step with the specific allocation, if any cost given the departmental wise, we specified into it, and which is not specified, then we need to do the primary allocation by sharing them among the department. So let's go back. Have you drawn the table, everybody? Have you drawn the table?
Not yet, ma'am, not yet.
Okay, let me give you a 1 minute. So everybody please draw the table and write down the headings.
Yeah, we're done.
All right. So there are 3 steps in the overhead preparation of overhead analysis sheet. So we have to go back to the question and look first, is there any cost which is already given as per the department, like how much for each department, departmental wise. So the first, this overhead cost, they're like 128,000. It is not for, we don't know how much for A, B, and C. Supervisor salary is 240,000, but we don't know how much is going to be shared with. So this is not the specific allocation. Then you look for the other information. These are some not overhead costs like floor area. This is about the area size. Machine value. Machine is not an overhead cost. Telephone point means the number of telephone equipments. So these are not the cost items. Then down, the cost of direct, indirect material and indirect labor. So here you have given the cost, how much the indirect material supplied to the department A, and the labor cost paid as a sum of 28,000, for department B 17,000, for department C 12,000, X 8,000, Y 6,000. Okay, so this is some of the information we have given as a specifically for each department. So we are going to use this figure. There is no basis of distribution. So department A is 28, B 70. So here you will write 28,000. Then next 17,000 for department C. You will write for the department C, and then 12, 8, and 6. Here, Leonard. Right? So these are the costs as a specific allocation already given for each department, right? After that, we are going to do the primary allocation. You can write the total of it, 28 plus 17 plus 12 plus 8,000 plus 6,000. Just add it and see how much is total.
Ma'am, I'm asking a question.
Yes, please.
I didn't see where you took 28,000, 17, and 12.
Sorry?
I didn't see where you took 28,000 for the production department and 17 for department B and
Is it
12,000 for.
given in the question?
Oh, it's
Did you
given in the
see?
question.
Yeah, I think we have to get like everything. When you take a figure, you see in here, this is the question part. So here under specific allocation, you have given the cost of indirect material and indirect labor, right?
Okay.
For under, you see this entire column, this entire column has the details of department A. Here it has the details of department B, C, like this. They are all information related to the concerned department.
Okay, I get it.
Okay. Yeah, so here for department A, 28,000, for B, 17, C, 12, and then for X, 7,000, and for Y, 6,000. So we take that information and put in our table. Then in total column, we write the sum of it, the total cost for all departments. So 28,000 plus 17, 12 plus 8 plus 6, it will give us 71,000. So in total column, you just write the total of it. After that, we go for the primary allocation. Primary allocation is a process of apportionment. What does it mean? Process of apportionment. Here, we share the cost which is given together, indirect labor cost which is given together for all the department, and then it has to be shared. So apportionment has been done based on the relevant basis, like rent. Normally, we pay the rent based on the area, occupied area, because if you occupied a big space, the amount on rent will be higher. But if you occupied the small space, the value of that place will be, rent for that place will be lower. So rent is always goes according to the area and the construction size, is it? So if you are apportioning, distributing or sharing the rent cost, then what is the suitable basis of it? So you see here in the question you have given the information of floor area. Okay. And the 3000 square meter is occupied by department A, 1800 square meters is occupied by the B, and 600 is occupied by the C, X 600 and Y 400. Are we together? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can you?
So now the first overhead cost on this table, the rent and rates, which is 128,000 will be apportioned based on the floor area occupied. Now how we do that? Let me show you. Okay, so the rent and rates is given total 128,000 pula. Now this value has been apportioned based on the area. So you have to calculate separately for all department. Department A, then you have to calculate for department B, then for department C, then for X, and then for Y. So we have to share what is the total, then you have to add all the areas because this rent is belongs to the all areas. So what is the total area? And the occupied floor area for A is 3000, for B 1800, for C 600 plus 600 and 400. So the total will be, total area occupied is 3 plus 4, 5, 6. 6,400. The total occupied area is is 6,400 square meter. 6,400 square meter. All right, so when you are calculating for A, then you have to take the area of A, which is 3,000, then times the cost, rent and rate cost, which is 128,000, and then divided by the total area, divided by total area. Or we can say, which is 6,400. So when you calculate it, 3,028 divided by 6. When you are calculating for B, so the occupied area is B is 1,800, then times the cost 2,000, then divided by is total area. Then when you are calculating for C, the occupied area of C, which is 600 square meter, times the cost, and then divided by same thing for X. Thus X is area 6,000 times 128,000, and here 6,400. This is 400 times So the value of department A, the cost portion of the department A will go is 60,000. Did you calculate? For B, department B is cooler, 36,000. For department C, cooler, 12,000. Close the door. And then the next department is again 12,000. And for the cost which is goes for department Y, the rent and rate is 8,000. So do you understand how we calculate all these figures? Do you see how the calculation was made?
So, ma'am, I'm asking the 128,000, can you go up so that I can see your rate? At which cost?
Is here. These are the overhead cost which is given together for all the departments.
Okay.
A. So that one, because it belongs to all department, then we need to apportion. These are the values in 1,000 pula. So 128,000, 240,000, 64,000, like that. It has, we don't know, the company paid total rent, but we don't know how much rent for the area of A department, how much rent for B. So we just using the floor area occupied by the each department to apportion the cost.
Okay, ma'am.
And that's
Okay.
how we apportion the area of A times cost divided by total area. The area of B times cost divided by total area. The area of C times cost divided by total area. So 60,000 will go to A, 36,000 will go to B, 12,000 will go to C, 12,000 because they occupied the same area, and 8,000 will go to department Y. Okay.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I get it. I get it.
Okay. So now this cost we are going to write in the table. We write rent and rate. Then under the basis of apportionment, here you will write occupied floor area. You will write occupied floor area. Then the total cost, when you add it, the total cost is already 128,000. Then this, then how much for department A, which is 60,000. We just calculated. How much go for department B is 36,000. Then for department C is 12,000. Then another 12,000. And then 8,000. Okay, so that's how 128,000 will be apportioned among all departments. Are we all together? Are we all together?
Yes, ma'am. We are all together.
Okay. Now the second overhead cost which is given together in the question for all department is supervisor salary. Supervisor salary which is 240,000. So we know that this supervisor is working for all departments, but now what is the suitable basis to apportion his salary among the department? You only need to choose uh, the one of the basis which is given in the question. So here the questions, the basis are given. Which one do you think is most suitable?
It's not indirect labor.
Yes, is direct labor hours, because floor area doesn't specify someone's salary. The machine value does not have any, because machine value is something different from the supervisor salary. Telephone point, not suitable basis. So direct labor hours is the suitable basis, okay? Maybe he didn't work for the department, service department X and Y, so it's not a problem because he may be just a production supervisor, only supervising the employees of productions department. So his salary will only apportion based on the direct labor hours in among the production department. Okay. So the process will be the same. We will add what is the total labor hours, 32,000 plus 18,000 plus 10,000. So the total is 60,000, right? Direct labor hours is 60,000. Now here we will apportion the supervisor salary, wages or salaries, which is how much given in the question, supervisor salary? 240,000, right? So we have to apportion Pula 240,000. Then is also going to apportion the total labor hours, direct labor hours, which is 60,000, I think, according to the question. Yeah, 32,018 plus 10. So here also we will calculate like this. The direct labor hours for Department A, Department A, which is 32,000 times the supervisor's salary, then divided by the total labor hours. Okay. Then for B, the occupied area is 18,000 times the supervisor's salary. Then for C, the direct labor hours for Department C times supervisor salary, and then divided by the total direct labor hours, which is 60,000. So how much cost out of 240,000 will go for Department A? Calculate that value. 128,000 of the supervisor's salary will go Department A. Then for Department B, 72,000 will go to Department B. And for C, 40,000 will apportion to Department C. So that's how we calculate the salaries. Supervisor salary has to shared among the 3 departments according to the direct labor hour. Did you understand this calculation?
Ma'am, still going back to the question. I want to see where you took 33,018 and 10.
It's given in the question. Let me just show you. Is here direct labor hours for Department A. All these are the information for Department A. Here is 32,000 direct labor hours. For B, 18,000. For C, 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So we use
Then
that
the
information.
60
the sum
is the
of it.
total. Okay.
Yeah, the total of it.
And the 240 is the salary for The supervisor.
Supervisor, yeah. It's
You are given
240.
it.
Yeah, it is in the question.
Okay. Thanks.
240,000 pula, which has to be apportioned according to the direct labor hours. But sometimes if in another question direct labor hours is also given for service department, so you also need to apportion the cost to the service department as well.
Okay.
Yeah, just in this question there is no direct labor hours for service department, but might be in another question it is given there, right? So like here we did this one for the rent and rate. Same thing we also need to do for supervisor salary here for X and for Y. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that's how we apportion the supervisor salary. Now the next item is heating and lighting. Heating and lighting. Sometimes they use the heating system to heat, to create the heat, maybe to boiling something or to melting something in that situation. So, or just using the air con or number of lights, that is fall under heating and lighting areas. So number of heatings and lighting is also based on the area. If there is bigger area, more air con will be required, more number of points will be, lighting points will be required. If the area is small, less number of air con will be required or lighting points will be, bulbs will be required, right? So when we are sharing the heating and lighting, we should use the basis of apportionment of floor area. We can apportion on the basis of floor area. Are we together?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So it's like almost time up for the class. So for the next one, heating and lighting, which is 64,000, will you try to apportion based on the floor area as we did this one for the rent and rates? For the rent and rates. So please just try to apportion like here we did for the rent and rates, lighting and heating. Then with the rest we will do in the next lesson. Okay. We'll continue in the next lesson.
Ma'am, the notes are there. This one's.
I'm going to upload on the team. You want me to put solution also?
Yeah. I want to try and do them.
Okay, I'll upload the solution also. But please do, other student, not just reading the solution. You have to practice yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
How this each and every figure has been arised. You need to practice, then you can understand. Otherwise, it is very difficult to understand the overhead allocation of cost among the various department units or